Welcome, and I would like to thank all of those of you out there that are taking your time to listen to the trailer of our Major League Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. I'll give you a brief overview of what it is that we do here, what makes us different, the different websites that we have, what our concepts and ideals are. I'll be sharing my screen with you, so I'll be able to walk through this stuff with you. For those of you interested in, obviously joining the community or playing in some of our leagues, this will be a good tool for you to use, give you a nice overview of what it is that we do. So first, let's start with the website itself, with MajorLeagueFantasySports.com. This is a site that we started back in December of 2011. However, we've been running leagues since 2007 was the first league that I'd actually gotten started. And what this website will do for anybody that's a part of our community and part of our group is we do a lot of the work for our leagues in regards to position rankings, weekly articles, roster strategy. We break each individual position down. We do that on a year-to-year basis. We usually do them in February and March. So when you come in and play with us, you're going to have all the information you're really going to need to help you compete in our leagues. And it's really important to understand why this information is important. Is that our leagues are not your run-of-the-mill standard type of league. We're more of a serious, hardcore setup. But with all the extra work that we do, with all the writers that we have, they all add a lot of great information for you. And here's a list of some of the writers here that write for us. And we work in the baseball, football, and basketball space. We are better established in baseball and football than we are basketball, really just kind of getting that going. Specific authors, if you like them individually, they also have their own pages. For instance, Joe Iannone he writes about baseball, so if you like his articles, every single one is his own page, and all his articles will be here. Just to give you an example, our leagues, specifically, we run our leagues right now. We're using Fantrax. There's so much more you can do on this site. It's not perfect science at this point with what they're doing over there, but you have a lot more power as an owner and what you can actually do. So I'll give you a basic idea of the leagues themselves. Say, for instance, Major League Fantasy Baseball 1. Here you will see these are 16-team leagues. Okay, your rosters are going to consist of 26-men rosters. Okay, so it's very deep with 16 teams. Your basics in regards to your rules summary and all that, you can obviously get on the site and find that at the top. You go under Other, click League Rules Summary, and you could flip through all of the different rules and everything that that we have in place, our roster limits and scoring categories, etc., etc. Position eligibility, all the stuff that you will need to find would be right here. Okay, and the next thing we should look at, let's look at one of the football leagues. So football leagues generally, let's go to our Champions League. Champions Leagues are invitational. We have 5 total leagues. The Champions League is by invite only. These are money leagues, so our standard leagues are $200 buy-in, and our Champions League is for former champions, perennial contenders. Two teams get dropped out every single year with this league, and we invite 2 new champions in. $500 buy-in for the Champions League if you get an invite, and we do a weekly payout once a week for 13 regular season weeks, and then the rest of the money is split up for the season champions and everything else. So it's a nice blend of several different things. You have a little bit of, and we are a keeper league. The Champions League is not; it's a complete redraft league. The other 4 leagues are keepers, but our leagues are primarily a good blend between like a dynasty depth format with a weekly flavor wrapped up into a full season. So you have plenty of time to recoup your investment throughout the year. And in playing in daily, everybody knows that there's so much stuff involved in daily fantasy that's out of your control that the best way to play that is stripping it out through an entire season and allowing everybody is going to experience those poor luck events. So you won't have that type of a concern with these leagues because it will balance itself out. I'll give you a good idea what a team roster. These team rosters are bare right now because we haven't drafted. Our draft is coming up here pretty soon. But we do IDP. It's 11-man IDP. You can kind of get the gist of that there. These are set up and run, and the league's depth structure scoring is designed. It's somewhat complex how the scoring looks. However, the complexity is actually created more of a realistic type result within the teams, which most people that don't play fantasy football, the reason that they don't play fantasy football is because it's just so unrealistic. Well, if I don't get the best quarterback, if I don't get Peyton Manning, or if I don't have the top running back in the league, or I lose one player to injury, my season is pretty much done. There's nothing you can do to control. And this is a look at a roster that I actually currently own. There's nothing you can do to control those injuries. What you can do as an owner and somebody looking to play in the league that doesn't put so much emphasis on one or two or three guys in the league, or completely destroy your ability to compete by losing one guy, maybe two guys, then you have to find a league that has sufficient depth and it scores all the relative things in football. And I can't think of a better way of playing fantasy football than actually having some of the best athletes on the planet, all these defensive players, have them have an impact, a total impact. And let me show you the 2013 regular season. And the results that you're going to get from some of your defensive players are going to be very solid. And these guys all have an enormous value on the rosters of their NFL teams. So they should in fantasy. And what you're going to get if you play in standard or slightly augmented standard is, hey, pick a defense or a special teams. There's not much strategy in that, and the defensive special teams doesn't really add much to the scoring by and large. So who cares what type of defense you have? All you need to focus on is offense and who's scoring points. What we do is we definitely focus on who's scoring the points and who's doing the majority of the work. Who's putting up the yardage, who's doing the grunt work. All of that stuff's part of the game. A lot of guys won't have the opportunity to score touchdowns or get in the end zone without all that grunt work that's being done in between. So you have to add a value to those guys. And it's so much more fun playing this way, and your results are so much more realistic. It's really it's hard to explain unless you actually played in one of the leagues themselves. Now the other thing that we have that we do, okay, going back to Major League Fantasy Sports. Oops. Let's go back to MLFS.com, is we do live radio shows every single week throughout the season. We just got the radio show stuff started this year. We're going to be wrapping up with our baseball shows. Our last show is going to be on the 25th, and next year we'll get started up again in February, and we'll do a full season of shows. This is on a legitimate sports network called Sportspalooza Radio. So it's live. It runs live every Monday. And our football shows are every Sunday, and they run live. You can podcast them. You can get it on iTunes or on Google Play, whatever type of device that you have. In these episodes, we get different guests on the show, different experts, football coaches. And we have a lot of people in our league actually that have extremely high credentials in regards to sports as a whole, baseball or football. So we'll bring those guys on to talk and to help you throughout the season. Again, you can carry and take that stuff wherever you'd like. And then our sponsor, Sportspalooza, they conduct interviews with. See, we're fantasy sports, and we're the fantasy sports arm of Sportspalooza. Now, what they do is they're a smorgasbord of sports. So they're going to get guests like Dan Schlossberg, Lee Steinberg, different notable names, athletes, Calais Campbell. They're going to get people on their show to interview on a weekly basis. Their show airs every Thursday at 1 o'clock. And with us piggybacking off of what they're doing at the same time, it provides you with so much more information and, just more entertainment by and large. EJ Gar and Lisa Iannucci are the hosts of Sportspalooza, and their credentials speak for themselves. You could go to their website, sportspaloozaradio.com, and you can check them out whenever you like. So understanding exactly what it is that we're doing here is probably the most important thing, and understanding our baseball leagues and our basketball leagues, everything. And I'll run this. This will tell you all you need to know in a nutshell. This is our rules, regs, and payouts. Rules, regs, and payouts page. The mission statement right here. I'll read it off to you. Our mission at Major League Fantasy Sports is to construct and operate the most realistic renditions of fantasy baseball, fantasy football, and fantasy basketball money leagues that bear out decision-based results. That includes the three key aspects to fantasy success: fundamentals, analytics, and gut instincts. I mean, that pretty much that's what it is in a nutshell. And the work and the people that we're attracting to the community does nothing more than make your experience, that much better. Our partners right now consist of Real Deal Dynasty Sports and Fantasy Hoops Daily, and obviously the Sportspalooza radio show. Again, you should definitely go check them out when you have time. They have some, again, really good guests. Now, Real Deal Dynasty Sports is owned by a partner of mine. We're like, I'd say partner is probably the best word. Real Deal Dynasty Sports is a completely different format than what we do here. Brian Lures is the owner of Real Deal Dynasty Sports, and he also has his own website. You can come here and click on it. He's in the process of building the site. He's done a pretty good job putting it together so far, but I'm sure he's going to add other things. But these are all dynasty leagues for baseball, football, and basketball. And I believe the buy-ins are something like $20 or $50 a piece. But when we're talking about dynasty, we're talking about like real deal dynasty. Like baseball leagues, 30 teams. 30 teams deep. Same thing with football. As many teams are in the NFL or in the NBA, that's how many teams are in that league. And the buy-ins being $25 to $50 is reasonable, but when you have that many teams, it means that the payouts are going to be, pretty decent. So I would definitely, if you like dynasty leagues, we don't do dynasty. Our leagues are Major League Fantasy Sports leagues with baseball, football, and basketball. We keep 4 people in baseball, we keep 3 in football, and we keep 2 in basketball. So we don't do what they do over there. It's a different setup and a different way to play the game. But if you like that, that type of thing, that's the the place to go. We have all kinds of different social networks. We're obviously on Facebook. Please feel free to drop by and give us a like. We're also on Twitter. We have our own Twitter pages. We have our own Google Plus communities. Here's Major League Fantasy Baseball. Here's Major League Fantasy Football. There's all kinds of information. We upload articles and stuff to the site. And our basketball community. So, and real quickly, I'll show you the basketball league. The basketball league is real straightforward. It's a 12-man roster, just like an NBA roster with 3 men on your bench, 3 men for the IR. It's literally 15 guys total you could have, just like an NBA team. And let's see. Let's look at specifically player pool here. We're a category league, so when you look at most basketball leagues are going to be points leagues, and they're fun to play in and everything, but they tend to lend themselves to be pretty unfair. So we play different categories. So these would be the categories that we score overall in the league. It's a ton of fun, a lot of fun. It definitely is, I think, a better setup than most basketball leagues out there. Basketball is by far the hardest. Is the hardest of the 3 big formats, baseball, football, basketball, to come up with a real good system to where it's not too top heavy or has a bunch of loopholes and nonsense going on. Outside of that, please follow us here if you want updated information in regards to getting the articles and updates on league openings and that kind of thing. Just plug your email address in there, and you can adjust on the fly how often you get emails. You can say, I just want to get emails, once a week, every Monday, or you can have it come in, daily, whatever time you want. You can customize that. Again, on the site here down at the bottom, you see other links and other things associated with us as a whole. What I would like to do is thank everybody that took the time to sit and listen to me babble on for 15 or so minutes or however long this video is going. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly at majorleaguefantasysports@gmail.com. Once you send me an email in regards to a question or anything along those lines, I'll send you a phone number and we'll chat from there. What you need to understand is our leagues are heavily based on communication and knowing that, especially being online leagues, we need to know who the people are that are joining. We don't want people coming in and setting up several different teams in the same league. And this is the way we weed that type of stuff out of the league. Is I interview the people. Everybody talks to each other. We've really created a great community where people, I mean, gosh, I've graded two of the best friends I have out there. I met 6 years ago and met them online. I'm good friends with them today. So that's what we're looking to do here. Have a lot of fun. Hopefully we make some money. Hopefully you make some money, and you compete. The key is competing is the key. And again, any questions? MajorLeagueFantasySports@gmail.com. For now, we'll say bye.